KOUJ 1071 FM, KJ.org. Going to the phone lines. Who are we speaking with?
Hey, this is Andrew from Disciple, also Nashville-based producer and online guitar teacher.
Oh, man.
Which one of those sounds the coolest to you?
Well, you know, a little bit of it all. That's the reason why we wanted to get a hold of you and bring you here to the Backstage and talk about a few things because, man, you have, like, a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, definitely staying busy.
So, for those that don't know, you're stepping back from Disciple, just kind of, though, because you're still recording, right?
That's right. We're in the studio right now with Travis Wyrick, Lakeside Studios in Knoxville, finishing up our 2019 LP, and it's going along great. So it's been really fun to be in the studio and just continue to hang out with the guys and work on all this music we've been preparing the last year or two, and still get to, keep the friendships intact. I'm actually sitting next to Josiah right now.
Oh, awesome.
He's declined to chime in, but I think he's just nervous.
Well, I will say this. You two guys are the best 1-2 punch in rock music when it comes to working the guitars, live and in the radio. So, man, let me just start off by saying huge fan of Disciple. I've been following, the band since a three-piece, but when they changed in and you guys got on board with it, it seemed like it went a total different route, and you guys were, like, getting radio play, like, just overnight. So tell me about some of the, because it's been a while. You've been with the band how long? About 10 years, maybe?
I actually joined in January of 2013. Andrew Welch played guitar before me from 2008 to 2013.
Right. Yeah, I was excited because I remember when it changed and everything, because everybody was really worried about, oh, man, they're not a three-piece band anymore. But your music is so polished now. It is so good. I mean, it's definitely, because we're a rock station. We play the heavy stuff. We're definitely not the Air Ones of the world or whatever. We just play nothing but rock music.
Awesome.
So,
appreciate it.
But Disciple is a band that is not just heavy rotation here, but everywhere. What is it about you guys that makes Disciple stand out over all the other bands?
Well, I think there's a really long history, like a legacy, and we're really kind of in tune with that now, even though we're sort of a newer lineup. Just doing shows for the last 6 years, meeting all the fans that have been coming to shows since the 90s or whatever, guys like yourself. We've got some second and even third generation fans, and we really are into that. Like, we respect that, and we're just looking to add to that. So when we came on board, we weren't trying to reinvent Disciple. We just wanted to write music with Kevin and do what Disciple does. We were already on board with that idea. And so immediately in the writing process, we wanted to interject our own style and our own techniques and our own ideas, but keep the core of the message and the music the same. And so that's kind of unfolded into this hybrid version of Disciple as it is now, and I think it's really cool. And there's lots of stuff for fans of old school Disciple and plenty of new material as well.
Yeah, with this new album coming out, so man, I so wish we had like some sneak peek of it. When are you going to get that new music out to us in Radio Land? Because I know it's going to be a while before it gets out for the public, but man, we can't wait till we get to hear that music right here so we can start putting it out over the air.
Sure, yeah. Well, we signed with Tooth Nail Records for this album, and we're really excited to be working with them. It'll be our first release working together. And once the record's finished, there's a process of edits, mixing, mastering that'll take anywhere between, weeks to months. It just varies on people and their availability. So we don't have the ability to, forecast a release date or anything like that. But 2019 is definitely going to be the year, and we're basically ahead of schedule, I would say. I think it's going really well as far as the pace of recording. Sometimes you get bogged down with, we got to figure out what to do with this song or whatever, but we came in pretty prepared, and we've just had a great time, like, flowing with the ideas and the execution. So Coming soon is all I'll say for now, but sooner than later.
Right. Well, I will say this. When it was announced that you was leaving the band a few months ago, I was really saddened because I was like, man, they have a core group of guys together that is just unbelievable when it comes to listening to the albums that you guys are doing, the songs and stuff. But then I was reassured that you're just taking a break from the tour, that you're still going to be part of the recording. And so I was like, oh, cool. All right, we're not going to change things up here. We're still going to get some Disciple that we all know and love. But talking about that, so what brought it on that you decided, it's time to take a little step back?
Well, it's been about a decade since I started touring. I played guitar for a band called I Am Empire from my hometown in San Jose, California. And we toured for about 4 years after doing our whole, route of local shows and stuff forever. And then 6 years with Disciple. And I just felt like every time I went out on the road, it was a definite, spiritual calling for me to be there and to do the work that we were doing. And now I'm feeling that same draw and that same push to go into doing studio work and just being home, being around for my family, and just kind of starting a new phase of life. And it's been really exciting so far. Gotten to record a couple singles and doing some music production for TV placement, the kind of stuff people talk over on reality shows and commercial bumpers and that sort of thing. But it's really fun. I get to work out of my home studio and just do what I love every day. And recording has always been my favorite part of the whole process, hearing the song go from an idea that's kicking around in your head, turning into a full, tangible thing that you can share with people. That's always the most exciting, gratifying part for me. So that's going to become the staple of my work life now. And, like I said, there's just a certain time where you feel like God's calling you somewhere else. It was a difficult decision, but feeling really great about everything and excited for what's next,
That's awesome. And one of the things I was going to say, meeting you this last time when you was in Oklahoma City for the Seasons Awareness show, you were setting up merch and stuff, and you're just so down to earth and cool, and it was, just talking to you and everything, and I was like, man, this guy is going to be missed out on the road because I'm just saying, not just your stage presence, which is insane, but you were just a cool dude to hang out with and to talk to. And usually that's,
thanks, man.
And usually that, you hate to say it, but sometimes in the Christian world, that's hard to find, but.
Just the world in general, for sure.
Right.
It is not always guaranteed that somebody else wants to talk, but I love doing that. It was cool hanging out with you that day, and that was a great show. I remember that.
Yeah, it was phenomenal, and like I said, just getting to talk to you, hanging out and stuff, and you were just beyond nice, and you had a lot of stuff going on. You was trying to set up, and I was like, man, I don't want to bother you now, but you're going to have to sign some stuff for me. My little boy is not going to make it tonight, and and you were just cool about it. You stopped what you're doing. You was signing some pictures and things, But even though like you're recording the album, but you also got another gig going with some like online guitar lessons and stuff.
Yeah, that's right. So before I was touring, I started giving guitar lessons at a music shop back home in California, and just really loved it right away. Just whether it was kids starting out or like peers that wanted to learn new stuff that were on my level, it was really fun to sit down and just, zone out on some guitar stuff for a while. And what I've turned that into is basically like a full-time online business where I do lessons over Skype. If you look me up on Instagram at Andrew Stanton Music or Facebook, Andrew Stanton Music, you can get more info on it. And basically what I do is a 40-minute call with students once a week to learn material, whether it's, song material or kind of like guitar curriculum, learning scales, learning about tone, gear, technique. Did some lessons this morning, and one of my students and I talked a bunch about just kind of the industry and how touring works and what you should target as a young musician going into that world. And it's really fun for me. I know it's not really for everybody, but I just enjoy it, and I want it to be a part of my life and my business for hopefully lots of years to come. So if you know someone that wants to learn, send them my way.
I think it's awesome. For one, just people that are fans of your music, whatever, and they're like, man, dude, I'm able to take lessons by one of the guys I look up to, So I think it's cool that you're actually getting to, like you said, Skype and being able to teach kids to adults how to play the guitar. And I love what you said just a second ago when you said it ain't just about teaching them how to play the guitar, but talk about the early stages of maybe getting in a band or going on the road, what to expect. So you're basically not just giving lessons, but mentoring as well.
Yeah, I like to think of myself as kind of a guitar coach, and there's a lot of different facets that go into the, I guess, touring world. And so there's guys with more knowledge and experience than me, but I got a good bit in my, 10 years, and so I just share what I know. And hopefully I can just be that, play that role that I had sort of had when I was younger as well, with some guys in the Bay Area that had gone out on the road and sort of gave me advice about, oh, here's how you set up your amp, don't do that, do this, or, oh yeah, when you're on tour, make sure you, bring a case of ramen for the van because you might get a flat tire and get hungry, or I don't know, stuff like that where you wouldn't think of it until you're already there. So it's nice to have somebody sort of giving you a feel for things, giving you a few tips, showing you the ropes before you out there stranded or figuring it out for yourself.
That's awesome, because it's the little things that
cool.
You wouldn't think about taking out on the road until you get stuck, and you're like, dude, I really wish I had something to eat right now. It's like,
yeah, one of my students was shared an article with me this week and was asking about, hey, is this, what it's like? And I was really surprised to hear about, how much downtime you have during the day. It was, for me, it's easy to be like, yeah, it's totally true. Like, it happens. And you don't think that it's going to be that way, but, yeah, this is my experience. And it's cool because those things would have surprised me so much just that same way 10 years ago.
That's awesome. So being out on the road, I'm sure you've got some all kinds of crazy stories, but one of the things I like to do when I interview different artists and stuff is I want to know, what was the biggest Jesus moment out in your career? What was that time you was on the road or on the stage, or what was the time you knew that God was there and you seen just God take over at a show, and you just give us a kind of a story on it?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. It's definitely difficult to pin down a single moment. We're really fortunate and blessed, I guess, in Disciple, because there's something like that every day. But just to kind of surmise, we've got this tour bus, and it's on the older side and has a couple million miles, and it's been around the block once or twice, and it definitely has maintenance throughout the year, which is totally normal for any band. Will tell you they got the same thing. But the amount of times that we've broken down next to a diesel shop, or needed a new bus tire at a show, and we're talking to the promoter and he owns a tire shop, or his son's a mechanic and he's on his way already. Things like that, where every time we need somebody's help, we don't even have to look for it. It just always, on the road, it just always found us. And one of those times, for one example, there was a battery in our generator that was, I don't know what the term is, it was basically cooking and going bad. And we had a guy look at it, and he basically saved us just in time from, blowing up our generator, and got us squared away, got us fixed. He's a member of this church, and his story with what was going on with his family and his daughter being sick kind of played into the show. And our singer Kevin was able to talk with him during this really important time in his life where he needed God and needed some words. And that interaction all came about from just him helping us, And it's pretty amazing because we're out there having fun doing music. Most of the time when we write songs, we're just goofing off, trying to do our best job of making songs enjoyable. And all those things come together, and when people hear them, it turns into this moment where it's life-changing. And that example, it's, Kevin talking with this guy and talking him through this time where he's got a really sick family member and making a difference. Whereas all we did was just show up and have our bus have an issue,
Mm-hmm.
So God is literally just working constantly. It's not like a thing where he checks in and checks out. It's just a continuous flow all the time with what we do and with the people we meet. So I'm really thankful for those experiences.
Yeah, it's cool because I think that's one of the things that kind of blows people's mind. You guys played in Oklahoma. It was last year, and I was able to kind of help put that together. But it was kind of neat because you was playing at a church in Moore, Oklahoma, and they were like, they really wasn't too. There's like, yeah, it's going to be a heavy rock show, and they were like kind of skeptical, but they was wanting to do it to see. It was to raise money for a Christmas gift for kids. And when y'all got up there and all of a sudden Kevin started preaching and people started praying for each other and stuff, and they were just blown away. I said, oh my gosh, that was just the most amazing moment. It was like they knew they was putting on a show to raise money, for kids' Christmas presents, but they wasn't expecting church to break out. And they were just, for weeks, they was like, oh man, that was so awesome, because it kind of opened the door. It was like, and they've had bands there because they've done shows, for the last 20 years I've done radios, bands like Skillets play there and stuff, but I think it was the first time they actually really seen church break out at a rock show, so that was probably awesome. That was one of the moments that I was like, man, and that was the first time I got to see you guys in quite a while because you hadn't been through Oklahoma, and I always told everybody, I was like, man, if you'd never seen Disciple, I said, there's going to be some praying going on, there's going to be some preaching. I said, it's just that kind of band. But until somebody actually sees it, they just like, oh, yeah, we've heard that before, whatever. And then you get the Disciple experience, and they're just like, these guys are for real. This is not what we expected, And so that was probably the coolest thing is just how the ministry is the most important thing of the show to you guys, and it really shows that y'all's all about Jesus. And I think I keep saying this, for the last year that I got back into radio, we're in a rock revival because there's something out there now that all the bands are working together and they're all talking about Jesus from the stage. It seemed like for a while there that it just wasn't happening that way.
Yeah, I think what's cool about the modern music industry you're seeing is it's creating a lot of niche markets. There's not like a big rock industry that all the bands are trying to sound like Nirvana or, hair metal or something. So it's kind of up to the fans to dictate like what music bands are making. And that's kind of allowed us to stick together. And I know in Christian rock it's a small community and we all care about each other. And